Hi everybody, and welcome to the Ciao Enchanted Land mini album tutorial series designed for Scrap and Create. All of the products that I am using here that are from the Scrap and Create website are listed in the description box below, so you can just click on those links and follow along in the tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be finishing up our album, so we're going to be adding our pages in and decorating the inside of our cover. Now, before I go on to the inside, I did mention when we decorated the album that I might come back and add some more. I'm going to add, I just have them laying here right now, in the middle of all of my hydrangeas, I have these little tiny, they're not the pearls, they're kind of like the rhinestone or crystal shaped ones. I'm going to put them in all of the centers of my little hydrangeas, and then I'll come back and we'll start to add our pages and finish up the inside. We're going to start putting our pages in. So what we're going to need to do for this step is make sure that we have our pocket open, and these pages are going to slide down on these hinges that have the mitered corners. So they will slide right into the pocket there, and the page won't go any further down than where those mitered pieces stop. So we're going to adhere it just to that score line. So in order to do this, I'm going to put my adhesive on both sides of my tab, just on this 1/2 inch part. And again, try not to get it past that score line. You can use your double-sided tape here if you really want to. I just prefer to use my wet adhesive. Make sure your page is in the correct orientation. So this is the front of the page. So I'm just going to place it on my hinge all the way down to that score line, and then I'm going to press it down to adhere it on. And then I'm going to flip it over and press it down on this side. Bring my bone folder in here and use it too. And then when it's on, you'll see that it is lined up straight with the top and the bottom edges. So we now have our first page in our book. Next, we'll add page 2 the same way. So I'm going to add my adhesive to my 1/2 inch section on the top of the hinge on both sides first. Going to open up the pocket between those pages. This is the front of the page. So I'm going to place it on here like this. Slide it down. I'm going to flip this one over. It's a little bulkier on the front side than it is the back side, so it'll be easier for me to see to line this up on the back side. And once I have that down, then I can go ahead and press this down. And I'm going to open this actually. That'll make it a little easier for me to see too. There we go. So I'm just going to make sure that this is well adhered. Then I can close this back up. Flip back over and make sure that this side is down, and we have our second page in. Next, I'm going to do the same thing with page 3. So I'm going to first add the adhesive to my 1/2 inch tab on both sides. Then I'm going to find the pocket between the pages and slide it right down on my hinge. Then I'll press down, make sure it's right next to that score line, flip it over, make sure it's lined up, and press this down. For page 4, I'm going to open my bow up just so I can get it out of the way a little bit so it's easier for me to see where this is going to go. And then I'm going to add my adhesive to the 1/2 inch tab section on both sides of my final hinge. I'm going to hold my ribbon ends out of the way so that I have that pocket open and slide it down over my hinge. Then I will line it up, press it down into place, and then look at the back side, make sure it's lined up, and then press it down. I'm going to need to open this up to see this a little bit easier too. And then just make sure that everything is adhered well. And then I'll close up the page to finish putting the pages in. So now we have all of the pages in our album. You can see that there is still some room. So once we place photos in here, there's room for expansion. And when it sits down like this, if you look, you'll see that your pages are slanted down, but again, they will come up a little bit more once photos are placed inside. For now though, we're going to come back inside the album. Going to shift these pages. Okay. And we are going to add the final touches. So we're going to cover the inside, front and back covers and place some paper on our hinges. For the inside back cover, I'm going to be using this 12 by 12 paper that I've cut from the top corner. And I've cut this piece to 7 5/8 by 8 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to adhere this right down here into the center of my back cover. For the inside front cover, I'm going to be cutting from this 12 by 12 paper. So I first just cut across this bottom part. Then I cut this to 7 5/8 of an inch. And then I trimmed from the top so that this is 8 1/4 inches. And I'm going to place this on the inside front cover. Once these pieces are covered, I'm going to come in here and start cutting my strips for my hinges. So I've taken this is all that I have left of it now. It's from the 12 by 12 paper, and I've cut a piece and into strips. So the piece that I cut was 8 inches long, and I've cut 13 of these strips that are 3/8 of an inch wide. So I started with the piece about 5 1/4 inches. It was a little bit longer than I needed, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough. So 13 strips, 3/8 by 8 inches. Now I cut mine and leave mine in order. That way when I apply them here, when there's ones that are next to each other, they have a continuous pattern. It's okay if you don't do that. You don't have to, but that's just how I do mine. I'm going to start by adhering the first piece here in front of the first hinge. Then the next piece is going to go here on the white portion of the hinge. Then I'll come back and add 3 between the next one, 3 between the next, 3 between the next, and the final 2 after the back side of page 4. From the 12 by 12 paper, I cut this little bookmark, and then I believe this was from one of the A4 papers. I'm going to make a tuck spot out of the bookmark and place it here. So I'm just going to adhere down this top portion and then a little bit on the bottom portion so I can tuck that card right underneath of it. And I'm going to place the card here and my bookmark here, just to give it a little bit of decoration on this front cover, but also just to add one of those little cut aparts. There will be several of them left over once we're finished with the album, so you can place them throughout the album in other pockets if you want to, or you can just leave the album as it is once we're finished. So that's for the front page. And then on the back page, we have this cut apart, and I'm going to use my final large card from my 12 by 12 paper. So I'm going to place this here off to the side as a tuck spot for this, and I'm going to adhere the side and the bottom section. So on this, I'm going to add adhesive here, and then up this right side, and place it down in this bottom right corner. Then I'll tuck that card behind it, and you can place more here if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it with that. And I forgot to mention at the start of this segment that I did add all of these pieces between my pages here. So you'll see that all of my hinges are now covered. So the only thing left to do is add the photo mats to our pockets. So we'll do that next, and we'll be finished with the album. For my photo mats, I've used my white cardstock that I've cut to 6.5 by 8 inches. I have 4 of these, and then I've just taken strips of my paper that I had left over, and I've cut them to 3/4 by 7 3/4. And then I've taken 8 of my little cut apart pieces, and I've adhered them either to the top or the bottom, and I have them open so photos can slide behind. So then you can choose to have smaller photos or a larger photo, and you can decorate these however you choose. So for the first one, I have the papers that are more purple to match this, and then on the back side I've got the green strip, and then this one is open here at the bottom. I'm going to take my photo mat and slide it down between my pages here, making sure that these cut aparts don't get caught on the page when I put them in here. For the second photo mat, I've chosen one or more of the neutral papers to go with this. This one is open at the top. And then for the back side, I've used that green paper with one of my cut aparts here that's got more of that green focus. For the third one, I've got more of a neutral color again, just to go with this. And then I have my cut apart up here. And then on the back side, I have more of the hydrangea paper with this purple clock to match the colors here. And for the fourth mat, I've taken a strip of this actual paper, was this the 12 by 12, and I've got this cut apart up here. And then for the back side, I've just got this neutral color with this little bluish piece. So once all of my photo mats are in, the album is now complete. Now you will have leftover paper and cut aparts. So like I had mentioned previously, if you want to place more cut aparts in your album, by all means go ahead and do so. If you want to add more decorations somewhere, you want to add something to the spine, this is where you can personalize your album any way you choose. But this is it for the Ciao Enchanted Land mini album tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed making this album and following along in the tutorial series with me. If you are just joining the tutorial series, there is a full supply list video, as well as all of the supplies that you will need are linked in the description box below to the Scrap and Create website or to my Etsy shop, where you can purchase all the different supplies like the Ciao papers, the 49 market flowers, the chipboard cover and pieces, and the pearls that I'm using here. So check those out if you are interested in following along and making your own mini album. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.